We're gonna start a new project. Um, this is the second part of my DVD. We're gonna create a toolpath. In our first part of our DVD, we just created a geometry. We created a whole bunch of solids and surfaces. And now we get into a more complicated programming part, creating the toolpath. CATIA, as well known, works with different windows at the time. So if you want to create a geometry, we're gonna have a different window which is called shape design, and we can work with part design. So we're not gonna have all of them all together. So for example, once we're gonna create our geometry or our surfaces, it doesn't matter, part design or shape design, then we can go to toolpath. What happened over here, I'm gonna teach you how to go to advanced machining. We have a couple of steps of programming. We have 2D, 3D, and we have a prismatic, basically that's a 2D, and we have surfacing machining. But advanced machining has got all of these operations that I just mentioned, 2D, 3D, all the 4 axes, everything has got it all 5 axes. It's all on this module right here. So if I'm going to show you how to use advanced machining, it's going to be so much easier instead of learning one thing at a time and getting all confused. So I'm going to start the advanced machining. So for example, let's make a quick part and a part design and create a quick toolpath on it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a quick sketch just for the heck of it. I'm going to go to this option right here to create a sketch on this plane. And I'm going to create a quick pad. Click OK. And let's create a pocket over here. We can click on this sketch and then on this surface. And we're going to create a quick pocket over here. We're going to throw some fillets. Let's go 1/2 inch deep. So we have a quick part, right? So like, for example, we finish the geometry and we want to make a pocket to machine this pocket inside in here. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna put start, and we'll go to advanced machining. And as you see right now, this is our axis, this is our part, this is all of our operations. And in order to throw our toolpath, our pocket operation in here, we gotta set up first the machine. What I'm gonna show you first, before we go any further, I want to make sure that I'm gonna give you a tool library that I already have, and we don't have to create your own tool library, and I'll show you in a minute what I'm talking about. So every time we start advanced machining, very first thing we have to set it up. So first thing is we double click on part operation and we get our part operation window. So every time we have to get familiar and used to that. We always have to do this. Before I do this, I'm gonna cancel this for a quick second because I want to create my plane and my boundary box, my stock material. So I'm just gonna cancel this for one quick second. and I'm gonna go back to my part. So as you see right here, we got once I click on the part design, icons change. Once I click on the toolpath, icons change. So I'm gonna go back in here, or you can go Windows, switch back and forth. So I'm gonna go to part design for one quick second, and I'm gonna build I need a surface. There is one option over here that they will need to have on, so we gotta make sure we pull that out. So let's try to open some of those. I don't see it in here. Section reconcile. I don't see it in here. Might be in the shape design. There we go, surface machining tools. That's what I was looking for. So let's go back in here and let's turn this option on. I'm gonna log this again. This will allow us to create a rough stock material. So we can create it, or can we import the STL file. So you can click import, and then it's gonna ask you where you're gonna import it from, or you can create our own. So for now, I'm just gonna create our axis, and I'm gonna create this box right here. So this is gonna be my my stock material. I'm gonna make it 1 inch. So as you see how I got my stock material. So in the real life, it knows that this is my block of material, whatever it is. It can be aluminum, stainless steel, doesn't matter. So automatically create a folder over here. It's called a rough stock. So it knows it's a stock material. So right now let's go back to our advanced machining. Oh, by the way, we have to create, let's go back, let's create our reference plane. So let's create a plane. I'm going to insert a geometrical set. I'm just going to put it in here. And as you see, this is defined on the work object. So if I do defined, if I create right now a plane, it's automatically going to be created into this folder. But if I go define on work objects, everything that I'm going to create it from this point on is going to go underneath this folder. So I'm going to click on this plane, and I'm going to put offset from a plane. So we get a couple options we can choose from. And I'm going to bring a little bit above the part. Click OK. This is going to be my clearance plane. I want to make sure when my tool retracts, will go up to this point. So we got to keep this in mind. Those two things we have to create before we switch to advanced machining. We got to have the rough and the clearance plane. So now we can go back and advanced machining. We got our axis XY0. We can move our axis whatever we want. For example, let's say this is our part. We can move our axis in this corner. We can move it in this corner. As a matter of fact, let's do that right now while we play with it. See our axis system, it's automatically in here. It's a default. But we can create our own. So this icon down here is called axis system. So if you click on it, it's going to ask us X, Y, Z direction. So if you click on X, you can tell I want this X and I want this edge to be Y. It's upside down, but there's no problem. If you click reverse and you want Y to go the other direction, you just click reverse and watch what happens. We created our axis. But if you want to move it on the other corner, we go to a selection and say I want to put it on this corner. Or we can put the again origin and you can put it on this corner. or you can click here, you can put it on this corner. So whatever you feel familiar with, just move it in the right place. Click OK. Now, as you see, this became our default axis. It's all straight line, and this is a dotted line. So this is the active one. If you do a right click, you see over here is set. If you click set as not accurate, right now they're not, both of them, they're not active. So I'm going to activate this because I'm going to use this as my first operation. So I'm going to go to properties, right click, go to properties, and I'm going to call this my first operation. And I'm going to turn this off. Go to right click, hide show, turn this off. So this is going to be my XY0. Let's go back to advanced machining. And look what happened, because we didn't set up our XY, it knows my XY0 is right here. So we have to tell it that this is our original axis. Okay, so let's go back to part operation. We call it over here first op. And I usually like to put my machine name just to make sure I know what kind of machine I'm using. If you have any comments, just put it in here. Now on the machine, we always have to make sure we go through all this before we click OK. We always have to do this. So let's click on the machine and let's make sure we say it's a 5-axis machine. Because if you don't click 5-axis machine over here, once you create a 5-axis geometry, 5-axis toolpath in here, once we're gonna make the code, we're gonna create our APT code. Our code is not gonna be a 5-axis code; it's gonna be a 3-axis code, even though the toolpath shows 5-axis. So we have to make sure we specify the right machine before we move forward. So we got the machine. On catalog, the thing that I just wanted to show to you, this is a whole bunch of samples. And over here it's got, for example, let's choose tool sample 1. And I'll show you in a minute what I mean. I'm going to give you my own library, so you don't have to use the sample one. It's already built up if you feel comfortable. Over here we use the kata comp. So if you use the kata comp, you turn it on over here. It's going to ask you, you have to turn this off first. So this is the kata comp in here. And numerical control, I usually use, also I have my own PP table for APT source because it's pretty easy, but if you feel comfortable, this always works the best. APT is the sample. So we're gonna leave it as a sample for now, and that's the only thing we change over here. This is the spindle home position, but the only thing we change is the tools. We have to pick up our library and color compensation and the sample of your post processor. So I always use the PP table sample, and your output is going to be a APT. Most of the best output, it's APT. And if you have a Haas machine, there are companies out there that will take the APT and they convert it into NC or whatever your machine can read. So for now, we're gonna just create APT only. Okay. So once we set all this, we're gonna click OK. So we just get out of here, out of our machine. Now we have to go next to create our axis. See, our axis right now, it's over here, but we have to make sure we specify our new axis. So let's click on axis and click anywhere on the red area. Okay, and it's gonna ask you to select your on the bottom left hand corner, it says select an axis, and we just click on the new axis that we just created earlier, and automatically it's going to snap in place. And I always like to type in here, put a little bit of space, because I don't like to see all this in here. And I just click over here, first operation, top. Click enter, and this is our first operation access right there. Click OK. We don't mess with this right now. We just leave this alone. Now we go to our part. We have to select our part, because the reason we do this, so we can watch the verify. So see, it says right here for simulation only. So we gotta select our part, which is in here. This is our part. Just highlight it and then double click twice over here, so we get our window back. Then it's gonna ask us for the stock material. So let's click on the stock, and our rough stock is this. So click on this folder and double click twice on this empty area, and then it's gonna ask us for our safety plane. Click on the plane, let's come over here, and that's our safety plane. Position, simulation, options, don't mess with this now. It's way too advanced, and then we don't do any simulations with the machines and tool changes and all that. I pretty much leave those alone, those options over here. So once we set up our machine, we set up our axis, we pick our part. That's why we have to make sure every time we create our part, we have to make sure that this folder is the part only. That's why we have to make sure not to have a whole bunch of geometry on one folder. So if this is one part, let's keep it separate folders, because once we do the verify and we have, for example, on this level over here, we have a couple different parts, we got to get an error once we're going to try to run our simulation program. So it's very important that we keep everything in different folders and subfolders, and we're going to be very easy for us to click on them. And see, for now, for stock, we know what it is. Part, we know what it is, so it's very comfortable. Safety plane, we know what it is. So basically right now we're ready to create some toolpaths. So once again, this is where you create your machine. You have to tell it what kind of machine you use, what kind of tool catalog you're using. If you use a color compensation, and your PPT table, you got to choose it right here. So over here it's a machine. Over here once again is our axis. If you have your own axis or different axis, make sure you click on this area, highlight your axis, type the part number in here or operation number in here, click OK. Then we go to part. We gotta define our part, which is right in here. We created a pad and the pocket, so this is our main part. Then we created the stock, which is right here. This is our stock. Then our safety plane is right here. So let's click OK. And for now, we don't need the stock anymore, because we want to see the pocket and the part much better. So we can turn this off by doing a right click, hide show. So we turn that off, and let's make a quick pocket in here. Now every time we create a operation, if you click on this, it doesn't know where to put it, so it's asking us for the reference operation to insert. So if you read down the bottom over here, it's always telling us what to do. So it's going to ask us, what do you want to put it after? And then once I click on this operation manufacturing program, automatically it's going to create my operation on the bottom over here. So this is my pocket. So for now I'm just going to do a quick I didn't select the tool, it's automatically picking the standard tool. So that's a quick operation right there. I'm just going to click OK for now. I'm just going to leave it like this. I'm not going to mess with any settings. I just want to make sure that we go pretty good to this first. So we just create a quick pocket right now. But what I want to do, for example, you want to create different manufacturers in here, right? So once you click on this, for example, you want to create more manufacturings. We got the same thing on the bottom right here. It says select a reference operation to insert a new one after it. So once we click on this, we get a new manufacturing program. So we can create. See, click on it. Click over here. So you can create as many as we can if you want to keep this organized. So if you want to have just pocketings over here, if you want to have only drilling over here, it's up to you. So for now, if I want to put let's say a facing operation, I just click on the facing, then I'm going to click on this manufacturing, and automatically it's going to put, see, my facing operation under this level. So I create a quick operation program. So I'm just fly cutting the top of the part. So that's how we create manufacturing programs. Now let's go back. I'm not gonna explain now how to use the pocketing operations only. Now I just create a quick and dirty just to show you pretty quick. But let's go just for the tools right now. So for example, see over here, I'm gonna minimize everything. We have on manufacturing operations, we have the process list, product list, and resources list. We always gonna work with resources and process. The product, it's all we create the geometry. So this is our part. All the toolpath and all the geometry goes in here. So we don't worry about this now. This gets created on the part design or a shape design. That's where this gets created. So those two gets created over here. All the tools goes under this right here. So right now we have a 5-axis machine. It goes in here. If you create another 3-axis machine, it goes in here. So all the resources goes in here. Product geometry goes in here, and the toolpath goes in here. So for example, right now we created this standard toolpath with the standard tool. Automatically picked up this tool on its own. It's a default tool because we've been using the sample table. So let's go back in the pocketing. Let's go to the tools and let's see what kind of tools we're using over here. So we can click here and it's telling us that we use tools sample 01. We can switch this and then see we get different kind of tools in here. But they're not they're some odd numbers. 787 diameter ball end mill, 393. So they always got some weird numbers. I don't know, it's nothing, it's inches like the way I want it. They have a whole bunch of stuff in here, but it's not the way I want it. So what I did, I have a tool library. We can load it in here, and we can open my tool library. So every time we're gonna set up these operations, we're gonna come in here and pull up my library, and then that way it's gonna be much easier for us. So let's go, before we move forward, let's go put my tool library in here. So I'm gonna cancel this. See, look at this tool number, it's 393, and I'm not gonna use this. So what I have over here, I have my catalog. tool library. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy this file and I'm going to paste it in the folder with the manufacturing where CATIA is at. So if we go to program files, Visual System, B17 folder, Intel A, Startup, Manufacturing Tools, and if we paste it in here, we're gonna use my library. So like now let's go back to CATIA and let's go back to our operation setup. Let's go back to machine, and on the numerical control, last tab, no, on the tooling. Let's go on the tools catalog and then we should be able to see SAMI tool library. So let's click OK. Let's go OK over here, click OK, and let's go back to my pocketing operation. And let's go to the tools and let's see the difference. See how nice and organized the tools are? So we got 1 inch, flat ball. So this is much better. So you can choose your tools from here. So you can customize it. You can create your own tools and save them to the library. But for now, this is pretty good. This is standard diameters. And for example, let's say we want to choose a 1 inch flat. Let's click on 1 inch. 1 inch ball. 3/4 flat. Click OK. And you can customize it. Even my operation, even though I said it's a 750, for some reason it puts this radius in here, but you can double click on it and make it 0, make it a sharp corner. And you get your tool over here, customize. You can put the tool length in here. Let's make it 2 inches, 2 inches, and let's make the holder 2.2. That's a standard size. And over here, the tool number 1, it's telling us that we already have a tool number 1, so it doesn't like to have two tool number 1s. So if you click OK, I'm going to recompute this, and as you see right now, this is our new tool. And I'm just going to come back in here, click on this tool, click delete, and get it out of there because we don't use it anymore. I'm just going to double click back on this, go pretty quick through a couple options in here. So those are the tabs that you can select: tools, operations, lead in, lead out, feeds and speeds. So for example, right now it has outward, helical. You can put inward, it changes the position, or back and forth. It's a zigzag. Now you can put over here climb. See, it's got the little arrow, question mark over here. So if you click on this, if you don't know what this stands for, you just click on this and we'll let you know. See, this is the rotation of the end mill. So the end mill rotates clockwise and it's moving forward this way. See the arrow going this way and the tool rotates this way. So everything is climbing. So I'm pretty sure that all the programmers that's out there, they know that most of the programs, they need to be climbing. Rare we find programs that we get a nice finish using conventional. So I very rarely use conventional. I always leave this on climb all the time. I never change it. Over here is the tolerance. You can see over there. Radial is asking us over here the tool diameter. So you just put over here your kind of like a step over. So right now it's 50%. So the step over ratio is 50%. Or we can put to distance. So right now we'll put step over 375. Step over from here to here, we get 375. Or we can put the step over ratio or maximum distance. They show you right here the difference. But I like ratio the best, 50% of the tool. Then we have radial was going sideways, as you see. Axial goes up and down. So it's asking us how many depth of cuts do we want. So just click on this and it will tell you 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's say we want to cut this 3 times, and let's make the depth of cut. We cannot select it right now, but if we change this to numbers of levels without the top, because we didn't select the top yet, we just put without the top right here. So now it's gonna tell us, okay, this right here stands for the thickness. So we put 200 over here and 3 times. It's gonna ask us if you want to make any finish passes. We can say yes, make one finish pass at last level. So you click on this and it will show you what it does. Green is the last pass, so it shows us it's going to finish the bottom and the wall at the bottom. So it's asking us for the thickness. So the thickness from here to here, we want it 20,000. Then it's going to ask us number of side finish passes by level. So it's going to ask us how many passes do we want. It says 1, bottom, thickness, and side finish pass. Side, thickness at bottom, everything is common sense. And then if you don't know what it does, you just click on the question mark. See bottom finish. Let's make this 20,000. So right now I just give it a finish on the bottom and a finish on the wall. If you want to put the spring packs, just click over here. Composition output has got none. You can put if you want to put cutter comp, you just click on a 2D radial tip or profile, whatever is convenient. And over here is going to ask us the floor, where's the floor, and the contour. And what is the top? See, when it's green, that means it's already selected. If it's brown like this, it's not selected. So right now I got to put my top of part, it's over here. So now you got green also. And you have a couple options you can play with. So you can put open pocket, close pocket. So in our case, this is a close pocket. It's going to ask us the offset on the boundary, offset on the contour, offset on the bottom, how much you want to stay away from the bottom, from the contour. And if we have a clamp over here, we can put the dimension on a check surface. Now this next tab over here, it's selection of the tools. So to select the tool, once again, you just click on a select a tool, and automatically it's going to pop up the library that we just inserted. This is our custom SAMI tool library. What I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this file into the DVD. And if you have, you guys have already CATIA, maybe you can copy and paste it. I already show you the location, and so you'll be able to get this nice library in here. So click whatever tool you want, and then you click OK. Then you get a tool over here, and you can customize it, the tool length if you have radius, and also you can change diameter. You can change it to 700 if you want. Okay. So let's go next. Next is our speeds and feeds and speeds. So let's say we want to approach the part at 20 inches. Yeah, I was trying to put inches. Sometimes it recognizes that, but I'm just going to make it 20. It says 20 millimeter, but once you're going to post that out, it's going to be 20 feet rate, which is going to be inches. Retract will make it 100. Let's go a little faster, 50 feet rate. And this is our RPM. So for the 3/4 end mill, if we have a carbide, we'll usually go around 6500 RPM. And let's put the quality of this program finish. We want to look a nice finish to this part. Let's go to the last tab, feeds the way we lead in and lead out into this part. So it's asking us over here, approaching, retracting from the part. So let's say approach from the part. We want to ramp once we're gonna come into the part. So we go here, click on the ramping, then we go to build by user, and we can put a add axial motion up to a plane. So what we want to do, we want to come from this plane that I just created, come down, and then ramp it into the part. So I'm just going to click on this, and automatically we get this rapid and the plane. So I just click on this, and I'm going to select my plane, and automatically knows on the macro that this is my plane. We also can edit this 394 ramping distance. You just double click on this, we can change it, for example, 250, and if you double click on the ramping, we can change this length. For example, we want to make it a little bit bigger, so we'll make this 500, half inch. Vertical distance from here to here is 250. Ramping angle from here to here, it says it's 20, we can make it 10. Let's click OK. So this is our ramping. Now retracting, we just said you can create as many as you want, but if you made a mistake, you just can delete them all. So I'm just going to make only one rapid to my clearance plane. So I'm going to ramp in and wrap it out once I get out. But see, right now we have approaching to the finish pass, retracting from the finish pass. So to activate those guys, you just do a click on it, then do a right click and active. And automatically, you see over here they get yellow. Once we define this and recompute it, they're going to become green. So right now I'm going to deactivate those two guys. I'm just going to, before I get too complicated, I just want to go a little step at a time. So as you see right here, we got our ramping, which is huge. We can take it down a notch if we want to. So this is our ramping that will comes here. We can view this step by step. So we can rewind, and if we click right here, which one is it? I think it's this guy. So if we go step by step, we can see every little step what the part is doing. So it ramped into the part, they want here, so we can see every step of the way. But if you want to jump 10 steps at a time, we just click 10. So on each click, see it jumped 10 steps at a time. So this is 10 steps. And if you want to play it normal, just go back to this. Let's rewind it and click play. And this is our pocket. Now if we want to watch the demo, the simulation, that's why it was very important when I first started. We have to define our stock material. We have to define this stock. We have to define our safety plane and the part in order to use this. So right now if we click on this, we have a couple options. I'm just going to click on this right now so we can see this is our part that we just defined. This is our stock material. So if I click play right now, we can see the tool coming in there and machining the pocket. And what we can do, we can save this. We can save this result and can pull it up later, and we can keep on going from there. So I'm going to keep this. It says it's already stored. Click OK. I want to click OK over here, and over here on my pocket we get this blue mark, and it tells us that we already have a previous operation stored in there. So we can change this as much as you want. Just double click on it. We can change it, instead of back and forth, inward. And right now, because we selected the top, we can go back over here, and on axial, remember we just selected numbers of levels without the top. We can put the maximum depth of cut, and it knows that our top is over here and the bottom is over here. And we just mentioned that we want 200,000 depth of cut. So if you do recompute, we got 3 equal spaces in here, plus the finishing on the bottom. So let's do a quick display again. So see, right now we started from the outside of the part. See, let's start from the inside. So let's click OK. Let's go back to outward helical, recompute. Let's rewind and watch. It starts from the inside. Let's go back to the video. Let's click play. And as you see right now, the tool starts on the inside. So let's go back to axial. Let's put numbers of levels. So right now we put 3 levels only. We want to go 3 times. So this is the top, this is the bottom. It's going to go 1, 2, 3. 3 equal spaces. And I think it's 167. Automatically calculated because it knows what the top is, it knows what the bottom. It takes this amount divided by 3, and that's how we end up with the 167. So if I recompute it, we got 3 equal spaces. Let's go back, play. Let's click play, and this is our toolpath. We can save this operation like I mentioned before, and we can pull it out later. We click OK. This operation is done. So for example, now we want to create a facing on top of this part. I'm going to click on this operation, and automatically it's going to put it on the bottom of this because it's already highlighted. And it's going to ask us, what do you want to fly cut? Let's say we want to fly cut top of this. So I'm just going to click on this plane, and automatically knows where the top is, and it knows the boundary also. And also, let's say over here, let's go on axial. On the numbers of levels, it wants to go 3 times also. But we don't want to go 3 times, let's go only 1 time. Let's do it back and forth, the zigzag. Ratio, let's give it 50 tau. And over here, the tool stops right at the end of the part. If you want to go outside, you just click out, and the tool is going to go outside the part. Finishing, no finishing. This is the geometry. We can go the same tool where we can put a face end mill, tool number 2. We can change the diameters over here, whatever you have, 2 inch, 3 inch. This is our speeds and speeds again. We have to make sure we turn this option on so we can put approaching. So we want to plunge into this part about 50 feet rate. We want to machine it at 100, retract to 100, finish 100, and our RPM is 3500. Let's go to approaching. So we want to approach this time just straight from a plane. So let's click on this plane, select this plane right here. Let's go on the retract, click on the plane, select this plane right here, and let's click on the toolpath replay. So this is our tool. Let's go back. Let's go 1 step at a time to make sure we don't plunge into the part. So I'm going to go one step at a time right here. So see, the tool didn't plunge into the part, which is very important. We don't want to plunge into the part. And it goes across like we told it to. We told it to make sure we pass by 50% of the cutter outside the part. So we'll go back and forth and goes up. Now watch this. If I go to this option over here, we can play the video from last saved result. But if we go in here, we can play a full video. If you click on this, it's gonna play this operation and the facing operation all together. But let's say we don't want to waste all that time, so let's play from the last saved result. Just click in here, and we already have the pocket from the previous operation. And I'm gonna take this off, and I'm just gonna do a regular play, and we already got a fly cut. And we can save this also. And right now a blue mark came on the bottom over here. So it lets us know that our video result it's on this operation. Our next option is gonna be the facing. So let's go to our geometry shape design. Well, let's create the solids. Let's start a part design, create a quick solid. Then we'll go back to our toolpath mode, and we're gonna go to the next option. So I'm gonna create a quick part over here. Actually, I'm gonna do this the easy way. So I'm gonna open a sketch on this plane right here, and I'm gonna build a weird part. So we're gonna create a pad over here, and let's create something quick inside of it. I'm gonna put a sketch on this plane. Create a quick pocket in there, just to make it look nice. So I'm gonna create a quick pocket over here. Okay, so for now we got the shape over here. And for example, we want to machine the top surface over here. We need to use the face operation. And let's go back to our toolpath operation. Let's start advanced machining. Well, before we do that, let's prepare the clearance level, the clearance plane, and also let's prepare our box design. We want to make sure we have everything organized. But to get the box design, we always have to make sure we go to the shape design. So we got the icons for the shape design, and let's create our box, the stock material that we start with. And I'm going to insert a geometrical set first of all, and I'm going to call it box. And I'm going to create a quick sketch for the dimensions. Let's constrain it. So let's make this 8 inches. Let's constrain these two guys. Let's make this 8 inches also. Let's make it 8.5. And let's give it a thickness. So let's translate this over 1 inch. So let's go to translate this sketch, and it's asking us the direction. We want to go on the Z direction. So we're going to translate this whatever the material thickness is. So let's give it a 1 inch for now. So this is our material. Okay, and also we need to build our clearance plane. We always need to have that. And I'm gonna create another geometrical set just for miscellaneous to build my geometry in there. So I'm gonna offset this plane. Let's go about 1.3 above the part. So this is our clearance plane. So every retract move that we have, the tool is gonna go up to this point. So every time I'm gonna repeat this again. Every time we're gonna start a toolpath operation, we always have to have the part, the CAD part, obviously, which is gonna be in a separate folder. We need to have the block, which I prepare my wireframe, and I'm gonna build the block right now, which is let's see where my icons is. Let's see if I can pull it up from here. Yeah, I don't find it in here, so let's I think it's hidden in here, so I'm gonna unlock this again. I'm gonna go to customize pretty quick. Takes a little bit to load. And I'm gonna go to options and unlock toolbar positions. I'm gonna unlock it for now to pull. There we go. This is our rough stock and insert an STL. So we need this, is very important. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna turn one of those guys out of here, turn it off, put this in here and turn this off. Because we always have to have this. So these icons over here, you get it only from the shape design. So it's very important, you cannot get it from our part design. So in order to create our stock, gotta come to shape design. So I'm gonna show you right now, we're gonna build our block on top of this wireframe. And we have to make sure we define this on the work object. So make sure that everything that will get built is gonna go under this folder. Then we'll go to create rough stock. It's asking me for the axis. I didn't create an axis, but if I click on this level, see what it does? It knows where my stock is. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna cancel this for now, and I'm gonna create my own axis in here. I want to see if I turn this off, turn this axis off, and I want to see if I can turn this off too. and I'm gonna create my axis, my XY0 on this corner. So I go to create axis system. It automatically defaults on XY0, and I'm gonna say I want my axis to be on this line, and Y I want it to be along this line. So that's gonna be my axis right there, XY. I'm gonna click OK, and I'm gonna rename this first operation axis. Now let's go back to create our stock. Click on the stock. Now we can click on the axis. Now if we click on this level, on this folder, see the difference? It doesn't go on over travel, it just stops wherever we create the axis. So this is our stock right here, and we're gonna machine the top of the surface. We're gonna use the face operation. Click OK. So that's our material. And as you see right now, it creates automatically another folder that you put it down here. But if you want to try to keep everything nice and organized, you can do a right click in here, go all the way to the bottom and say change geometrical set. So I can take this folder and move it over here. So go right click, change geometrical set. That's gonna ask us where you want to put it. We want to put it in the back folder. Click OK, and as you see, automatically it changed it. It put it in here. So our bug creates the sketch and actually the stock itself. And now we're ready to create the toolpath. So once again, every time we create the toolpath, we need to have the stock, the clearance plane, and the axis. They all got to be defined. So let's go to shape design again over here on this icon. Click on it and let's start advanced machining. Or you can go either one. Start over here, advanced machining. And once again, I'm going to repeat it. As you see right now, our system, it's set up for this corner. So every time we need to make sure we reestablish our axis on the new creation that we just have. So we create a new axis, we have to make sure we take this and shift it over here. So I'm going to start again from the beginning. Once we open a toolpath operation, we always have to go to the part operation and we have to define it. Double click on it, and we can insert in here the name of the operation. It's called first op. Then we have to go to the machine. We have to select our machine. So if you use a 3-axis operation, you select your 3-axis, or if you use a 5-axis machine, you just select your 5-axis machine. In our case right now, it doesn't matter if we click 5-axis or 3-axis because our post is going to be a 3-axis code, so it doesn't matter if I click 5-axis. Now we're going to go to tooling over here. We're going to select the catalog, and this is the library, the tool library that I'm going to insert on the DVD, so you don't have to create your own library. I already have one copy over here. So to make it easy, you can use my library. If not, you can create your own, or you can use one of those samples in here. So for now, I'm going to use my tool library. If you use color compensation, this is how you turn it on, and you have to make sure you turn this option off. And on numerical control, we have to choose our post processor, and we can use the sample one. It's a PP table sample. This PP table, it's when you post the program outside has got a format. So the sample is the easiest one, and the output is going to be an APT. So you also have to choose the sample and APT over here, and you have a couple of the options. So right now we click OK. So we set up our machine. That was our machine. Now second icon, it's our axis. So we're going to click on the axis. We can click anywhere on the red area, and it's going to ask us to, on the bottom over here, select an axis system. So I'm just going to select this axis and automatically snap into the new position, and I'm just going to call it first stop. So this is our first up axis. So we define the machine, we define the axis. Now we'll go down here, we got to define our part for simulation. So once we're gonna, you don't have to do this, but if you want to simulate your program and you want to see a demo how actually the part is gonna run in the real life, we have to define the part, the stock. That's why we did the stock over here. This is the stock it's gonna ask us for, and that's the reason I put it in a special folder. Let's click F3 to get it back to normal. And this is our bug. So this is the stock that's looking for. It's this folder over here. And then the clearance plane is this plane right here. That's why it says very important to keep in mind. We have our axis, we have our stock, and our plane. And then it was very easy. We can click on part, double click on the screen 2 times, click on our stock, let's go on our stock, double click on the screen 2 times, click on the plane, we click on the clearance plane, you see automatically put a safety plane in there. Now we click OK. So we set up our machine. Every time we start a toolpath, we have to make sure we always do this. And I'm gonna rename this facing. And we're gonna create a facing operation in here. I'm gonna tune off the stock, so actually I can choose my part to face this. And let's go to our next icon. It's called facing. Now if you look on the bottom over here, it's gonna ask us to select the reference option to insert. And if you want to insert it under this folder, you just click over here and automatically it's gonna throw our facing operation under this folder. So you got it automatically in there. Now you can do this too. You got 2 options of doing this. You can click on the edge, and you can select this edge all the way around. Or if you click on the surface, automatically it's going to highlight the whole thing. So in this case, I'm just going to click on the surface, and automatically the edge got defined. For example, if you make a mistake and you choose the surface on the bottom, you can do right click remove, and for example, we'll make a mistake and we choose this floor, but that's a mistake, so right click over here and remove, right click remove. We can click on the edge, and now it's going to ask us to look for edge selection. So click over here and go around the part, or we can go here and we can put navigate on belt edges of faces, navigate on belt of edges. So automatically it's going to just close this automatically. So we got the edge of the part selected, and now we can tell it where the bottom of the part is, which is this face. And now knows the bottom is this right there. Now we can change the position. Instead of going inward, we can go back and forth. We can go one way, Let's choose back and forth for now, and okay, and let's go to ratio. It's 50%. Actually, I want it's gonna ask you how many passes you want, and it's gonna ask you the levels you want, and if you have any finishing passes, finish at the bottom, and it's gonna ask us for the thickness over here. So it's pretty self-explanatory, but right now we just make one simple pass before we make it too complicated. Over here you can put the offset. Instead of coming to the bottom, you can stay above, and you just choose the option over here. And let's choose a face mill, and you can change the diameter 2 inches, 3 inches, whatever whatever the CNC shop has. Feeds and speeds, come over here. This is the RPM. So for a 2-inch face end mill, I usually go on aluminum, 3500 RPM, approaching about 50 feet rate because I'm going to plunge outside the part, and I'm going to machine it at 80 feet rate, retract as fast as I can, about 300. And if I have a finished pass, I can go a little bit quicker, 80 feet rate. No, actually I can go 100. This is for reference only, and the quality you can put finish. And over here is going to ask us how you want to approach the part. Approach and retract. And in our case, we can put, you got a couple options you can choose from over here. You can put axial, you can put ramping, but because we're going to plunge outside the part, we don't need to do none of those, so it just can go a straight plunge from the clearance plane. This plane right here is the plane that we created earlier onto the MISC level, this plane right here. So from this plane, the tool is going to plunge outside the part and it's going to feed into the part and face the part. And then retract, I'm going to do the same thing. Once the tool goes around, it's going to retract from here and going to go up to the clearance plane. So I click on the plane, then click on the clearance plane. Then you come down here and we do toolpath replay. So this is our tool. But see right now the tool, it's right on top of the part, and I don't want to plunge right on top of the part, and I want to plunge outside. So what I'm going to do for now, I'm going to turn this option on. Make sure that my tool plunges outside over here, because it's wrong to plunge into the part. You do this in a machine shop. You try to plunge this tool into this material, you're going to get fired on the spot. So before we post this program, we're going to go back to this option over here, and it's got one of those options in here. See over here, I think is when it's asking us how you want the tool to be right on the edge, or if you're gonna go outside. So we turn this option out. Make sure the tool goes on the outside of the part. Now it's in. Now it's out. And also we can change this over here, the distance. We can put 1 inch just for reference right now. And we can put a replay. And the tool is being offset to 1 inch from the edge of the part all the way over here. And see right now we're plunging a little bit more on the outside. But in this case, what we can do, we can choose the top of the part, but we can choose the outside profile for the tool to walk around. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to remove this boundary. I'm still going to keep the top of the part, but I'm going to choose the outside boundary. I'm going to click on this, this, and this. Now click OK. And now I'm going to go back over here, and I'm going to put this just 200 away, 200,000. I'm going to do a replay. And right now, as you see the tool, it's all nice, the toolpath, because it follows this profile, but the top of the part, it's actually down here into the surface. So this is our face operation, and we can do a quick play, and we can do a simulation. It doesn't show the part. We have to see. We have to make sure we set up the simulation right. So let's click OK over here. Let's go back to our first tab, and down here we can do reset, and let's make sure we select the bug again. So I'm going to click on this level, click on rough stock, double click on the screen, click OK. Let's go back to our face operation. So when this happens like this, that means we can zoom in and out on the tree. And if you click F3 again, we can bring it back to normal. And now we can do right click in here, go all the way to the bottom, and then we can put start video simulation straight from here. You can put full video or from the last result. We don't have no results right now, so you can put full video. See, right now we get the stock, and we can do play. We can, if you want, you can go step by step. We can rewind. And you can go one step at a time. And that's it. Now we can save this if you want. We can save this video result. And next time we're gonna do another operation. We can we see the blue mark in here. We can run it from the last video result. Now we're going to be able to use this option over here, so I don't have to run the full video all the time. I'm going to try one more time the first operation we tried earlier, the pocketing, and I'm going to make a quick pocket inside this cavity. Let's turn off our bug design, and let's go back to our pocketing icon. And on the bottom over here, it's going to ask us where you want to insert it after. We can click on face, and automatically is going to put it below the surface. Below this facing operation. And this is basically the same idea. We can click over here on the boundary. So if you click on here, you just go on this part design, and you just select your boundary. Or if you click on the bottom, automatically is going to select everything. So in our case, I'm just going to click here. We got the guide and the bottom of the part. Top of the part, it's over here. You can put this bottom hard or soft, or open pockets, close pockets. It makes sense. So in our case, it's a closed pocket. And radial is the step over. So you can just, if you don't know what this option does, you just click on the question mark. Axial is going up and down. So radial is going sideways. Axial is going up and down. So an axial is it's telling us how many levels we want. And on this case, I'm gonna just you see, it already knows we have half inch from here to here. So right now, if I click 2 over here, automatically it's gonna show us 250 over here, because it's gonna take this divided by 2, and we're gonna get 250. So see, automatically get 250. If I go to 5 levels, it's gonna be 100,000 over here. So it knows where is the top, the bottom, and automatically compensates. So in this case, let's make it 2 passes. If you need to have a finish, if you want to run a finishing program, we have a couple options you can choose. Side finish last level. So in this case, we're going to put finish at last level and the bottom. So you see you got a couple more options turned on, and it's going to ask us how much we want the thickness. So let's put the 20,000 over here. side thickness at bottom, how much you want your thickness, 20,000. You can put 20,000, or you can put the finished bottom only, and you see you have the thickness for the bottom only. If you want to have a spring pass, you can just turn this option on. So bottom only, you can see it does only the bottom only. And actually I'm going to keep this 0, and we're just going to finish the bottom only in this case. Then also we have the position, how you want to approach it: inward, outward, and zigzag, back and forth. So let's start at the outward. Okay, so we select this. Now let's choose our tool. Now we'll go back to my geometry. We don't have any tools selected right now on this toolpath. So we're gonna go in the library. And this is my tool library. And if you click on the end mill, automatically we're gonna have a couple end mills in here. So we can choose a 3/4. So this is a 3/4 end mill. We have to, if you have a radius on the tool, put a radius. If you have a 0, it's a flat end mill, just make that 0. And if you have a tool length of 2 inches, you can make this 2 inches. And your holder diameter, it's about 2.2. And then you can put over here your tool number, over here your description of the tool. Feeds and speeds. So for this tool, we're gonna approach it a little bit slower, because we're gonna actually plunge inside the part. So let's approach this part at 10 feet rate. Machine it at 80. That's about right. Retract it 300. Finishing 100. And let's turn on the RPM. Let's go about 6,500 for this tool. Approach. Right now we're gonna ramp, so we're not gonna plunge. We're gonna go back to the ramping. So we want to ramp onto the part, because most likely, if you most of the programmers out there, they know this is pretty common. Every time you enter a pocket, you always have to ramp. And then let's go back, build by user, and then we're gonna use the ramping, and also we're gonna come with the tool from this clearance. So we're going to come from this clearance, we're going to come down here, and we're going to ramp from 300,000, 394 above the first pass. Retract, we can go straight home, it doesn't matter. So we're going to click on this clearance over here, and we're going to put toolpath replace it. Right now we're going to have to make sure we activate some of those options, because the tool is going to come back for finishing passes, is going to come back for the linking approach. So it's got a couple options. We're going to come back to do more passes. So let's for now just do a quick replay. So see that we have 2 passes and 1 more pass at the bottom. This is the finish pass. This is the second pass. And as you see right now, the tool ramp onto the part. That's exactly what we're looking for. And see over here, the tool kind of comes right to the edge. And most of the programmers, they like to have what's called lead in and lead out, because if you try to pull the tool out from the part right at the edge of the part, it's going to leave a mark into the part. So you always have to kind of like lead in and lead out. So let's go back in here, and let's go to linking retract. If you do right click, you can activate it, so it became yellow. The reason it's yellow is because we didn't do the toolpath replay yet. So let's define it. Let's see, horizontal, circular. So on this case, we're going to use circular because we want to come on a circle motion, lead into the part, walk around the part, and come back into this point and lead out. So circular. Okay, this is how it's going to look. Let's go to this guy, circular. Same to those guys. So let's go, let's tune all these options on, and let's create a circular motion. We can activate this, right click to activate. Circular, horizontal, axial, that's what it's called. Oh, it's activated already. Let's go back here. Activate, circular, circular. So now we establish all of this. See, this might be too big, the radius, but we can always double click on this and change them to whatever dimensions you want. So let's do a quick replay. See right now the tool has got the axial motion over here, and that's much better. Let me do the same thing to this guy. This is the clearance above the part. So it's asking us how far you want to retract. So you can leave this, or you can retract to a plane. So we're going to click on this plane. Toolpath replay. And I'm going to create a finish pass on the bottom. Let's see. Side finish at each level. We're going to do a side finish also. Okay. And right now we have a motion on coming in and motion coming out. Let's do right now a quick replay. And now we can actually go to view the video from the last saved result. And if we click play, this is not the finish, this is not the raw material, this was already used in the previous operation. And we can do a play. We can turn this option back on. Now if we do a play, we can see our pocket running. See, we have the finishing over there. And let's go back and save this result. And this is our pocket. We have two options in here. Now we have to make an APT out of it. So let's go and save this profile. We have a part design, which is where we created the part. And we have go back to window and then go to the toolpath. We have another icon. So let's go save this project. Let's put file save management. And it's asking us where you want to put it. So let's select, in this case, the cat part. And let's go to this folder. And we're going to put again click enter and put your part name in here. So this is for the cat part. Put save. Now let's go to cat process, which is our toolpath machining operation, and click save as. It's automatically into the same folder that I just created. And I'm going to call this pocket also. Click save. Click save. So now we save this. We always have to make sure before we post our programs, we always have to put file save management, because if you don't save it, we're not going to get the right code. And we go back to generate NC code in a batch mode or interactively. So we're just going to click on the interactive. Now it's going to ask us which operation you want to post, which is this. If you have multiple, in this case, let's create a couple more just to get the feeling what I'm talking about. So for example, if you use the program number 2, and you have some drilling operation in here and some extra operation, you can post them separate or you can post them all together all at once. So let's go back to generate the NC code, and you can see over here you can select each one individually. So the moment you click on this, automatically it highlights the tree. In our case, we're gonna post only our facing. You can put it's got a couple of options. You can put by machining operation, by program. So if you put by program, it's gonna have this and this split it. It's gonna split it into two programs. If you put by machining operation, those two operations are gonna come outside as one program. So let's give it a try. Let's leave this as an APT. You can change it to CLF or NC code or CAD product, but the most popular is APT. And now it's going to ask us where you're going to put the file. Automatically it's stored for this temporary location, but I'm going to change it, and I'm going to put this on my desktop. Or actually, let's put it back into the same folder that we just created. And it's automatically named Pocket Facing. This is the extension APT app source, and we click execute. Let's make sure we put save. Let's click execute. Now it says that everything worked out perfectly. We click OK, and let's go to our NC code and view it. So let's view our project. So let's open the folder, and let's go back to our Toolpath tutorial, and let's go to Pocket, and this is the APT source that we have. And actually, I'm supposed to put by program. See, this is what I was talking about. Let's get facing 1 and facing 2. So we split this operation into two programs. So facing 1, it's facing 1, and pocketing, it's facing 2. If we double click on this, let's open it up with a WordPad. And this is our APT source. Okay, so it says right here the tool change number 1. Our operation is called facing, the main one. And this is how the code looks like. Now, most of the CNC shop doesn't work with APT source. We need to have an extra post. We're gonna take this APT and convert it into NC code, so the CNC machines will be able to read it. Okay, so this is our facing, and let's open right now our pocketing. It's a little bit bigger. It's got a lot of X, Y, and Z. See, X, Y, and Z, but this right here is for our axis, 5-axis mode, because we selected our machine. Remember when we started, we select our machine as a 5-axis, but right now it shows us it's 0, 0, 0, and we don't have no 1. That means it's 90 degrees. The tool, it's a 3-axis program. So this is our code right here, APT source. Now let's go back in here and let's put by program, and I'm gonna post this also again. We always have to go back in here and change it, and let's put this, let's call this pocket only. Let's put enter. Now let's put execute. Click OK. Let's go back to our folder, And as you watch, we have only one program. So we did, I just changed this to by program. So everything I have on the facing is going to be only one program. It doesn't matter if you have 10 operations in here. See, if you open this, we're going to be able to see two tool changes, face and the 3/4 flat. So we have a tool number one, tool change tool number one, which is the face mill. It does the facing, and then we have a tool change for the 3/4 flat, which is this tool, and it does our pocketing operation. It says right here, pocketing. So this is how the APT source looks like. Our next option is gonna be the profile contouring. We got a couple more options in here, but not for now. So we're gonna give it a try to walk around this part and remove the excess material. And so what I'm gonna do first, I'm gonna machine this edge, and then I'm gonna machine this edge in here. And assuming they're gonna have two clamps to hold the part over here, then we're gonna stop the program and then swap the clamps and machine the leftovers. So let's make another contouring operation with this 3/4 inch flat. I'm gonna click on the profile contouring. Now over here on the bottom, it's asking us where we want to insert the operation, and we're gonna say under this pocket operation. And let's select the edges. So we're gonna machine first front and back. So I'm gonna click on the wall, and I'm gonna click on this edge, and this edge. As you see, we have an arrow over here. That's the side of the end mill. So if you put it this way, the end mill is gonna be on this side. If you click this, the end mill is gonna be on the other side, which is gonna be a conventional cutting going through the part. So this is one operation over here. We're gonna click on the bottom of the part, which is over here, and top of the part is this surface. Now it's asking us if you have a end point, an exit point. So you can click if you want your entry point, which is over here. Double click on the screen so you can get this window back, and let's select the other point. And also you can have a couple options. If you want the email to stop on the inside, or if you do right click over here, the email goes on the outside. And also you can put some dimensions, you can change it, or you can make this right on the money, right on the edge. So there is a couple options you can choose. Then also we have the hard bottom or the soft bottom. So in our case, we have a soft bottom. We don't have a bottom over here. Okay, let's set this over here. As you watch, our arrow automatically change in the other side. So like we can put it back anytime we want. Let's make this one way, climbing. This is the rotation of the end mill, and it's going to go this way. Conventional, that's going to go the other way, which is not recommended. Every time we use aluminum parts or any kind of steel materials, most of the machine shop, they use climb machining. Okay, let's step over. If you want to have some extra step overs, we can give it a couple steps if you want, and also on an axial. If you want, you can give a couple over here, so you can go up and down. Now it's only one pass. Finishing, there is no finish. We can put finish if you want. Let's go back to select our tool. It's automatically defaulted on the 3/4, so we can leave the same end mill. Feeds and speeds, it looks about the same as the previous operation. I just turned this option on. And we have to approach it. We have to do a circular, horizontal, axial, because we don't want the emil to plunge right into the part right here. So we kind of want the tool to come very nice, lead in and lead out over here. So we're gonna put approach, then we're gonna go back build by user, and we're gonna go to a plane. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna come from this plane down here and into the part. And axial, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna click on the retract, and over here on the mode, I'm gonna click on the circular motion. Then I'm gonna go back into the mode, and I'm gonna go to build by user to get my macros, and I click on the plane icon. Then I click on the plane, select the plane, and now I can do a toolpath replay. So our tool, as you see, starts outside, lead in very nice, comes into the part right here. See, if you don't use the lead in options, let's go back over here and we can delete this macros that we just selected. So just click on remove all motions. Let's go to approach, and let's put over here remove all motions, and let's do toolpath replay. So as you see, the tool starts right here at the bottom, right to the part which is not recommended. It's gonna make a big mark into the part. So that's why I always have to lead in and lead out. Start outside, come back very nice, and the part is gonna give a nice finish. So that's why I added the circular motion. Then I go back to build by user, select my plane, and same thing for the retract. Build by user, go to the plane. There's a couple options you can choose over here. You can click, adding stuff to it, and then you can make your own thing. And also you can delete it one by one if you want, or you can delete them all. So let's select our plane for now. And let me show you if I put this on the other side. See, right now the tool, it goes into the part, which is not right. So that's why we have to make sure that we select the guide on the outside. And right now if I click OK, I'm gonna do a toolpath replay. The tool should be on the outside. But usually for this kind of material, to machine all this all at once is too much. It's gonna be way too much. Let's watch our video. See, right now it's a lot of material, maybe for this tool to remove it all at once. So let's make this a couple steps and one finish. So I'm not gonna save this. I'm just gonna go back to our step over, which is on the first icon over here. This is where you select the geometry. This is for the tool. This is for the feeds and speeds. And this is for your approaching and retracting. So we're gonna go back to our step over, and let's see what we can do here. Let's go to axial. Axial goes up, goes on Z motion. It goes up and down. So we can add a couple more levels over here. Because we established the top and the bottom, it knows that the part thickness is 787. So if I go 2 over here, automatically divides that 787 divided by 2. So usually for a 3/4 flattened mill, going half of the diameter, that's pretty much right. So because it's a 750 divided by 2, it's about 375. So we're going about 375 at the time deep. So that's a good, that's about the right amount. So we're gonna make two. We're gonna go 2 times on axial and 1 time on the finish. So we're gonna do one nice finish along this whole wall, along the wall. So we're gonna put only finish side finish last level. Just 1 time at the bottom. And it's gonna ask us over here, what's your side finish? So that's what we want. We want to make one nice finish at the end. We're gonna make this 20,000. And we don't want to make a bottom thickness. We just leave this 0 for now. Let's go back right now to our approaching and retracting, because right now, as you see, we give it a lead in and lead out only for approach and retract on the very first pass, but not on the finishing. So those are not active. So return to finish pass, approaching and retracting, those are not activated. So we have to activate those and add one of those guys to it, one of those lead in and lead outs. If we don't, this is how it's going to look like. You see this? See how the tool plunged right into the part? On the very first stop, we have a nice lead in, but when it comes back to the finish, it just plunges straight into the part, and that's not recommended. So we want to make sure that we have a nice lead in and lead out for every little pass on this part. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click OK over here, and we're going to go back and activate all these guys right here. On the clearance, you can click to a safety plane or to a plane. Just select the plane. We have to make sure we activate this because it's not active. And once we replay this, our tool is supposed to retract all to this level. Every time it comes back here, it goes up to this level and goes right across the part. So we're gonna do to a safety plane. Let's see if it's gonna do all the passes to a safety plane. I'm gonna activate all those guys right here. So let's do right click, activate, and we're gonna put circular. Let's go back to this guy, circular motion. Let's activate all of them. So now what I'm doing, I'm adding a lead in and lead out for every little pass on this part. It takes a little bit longer, but the part is going to look much nicer once you're going to finish it. I already got used to it. Okay, this is the last one. Okay, it's activated. And also we can add planes to these guys. You can go back build by user, click on the plane, select your plane, and also you can do this. So we can bring your tool all the way to the top. So see right now how nice it looks. Every little pass leads outside, come back in, it goes all the way to the top, which is this plane that we selected. And this is beautiful. So let's watch it. See, it plunges outside. We got 2 roughs, and this is 1 finish. Now we can do a toolpath. We can watch a video simulation from the previous operation. So we can, instead of running a full video, which is going to start from the beginning, we can run a video from last saved result. So it knows our pocket was the last operation. And if I do a play, that looks beautiful. Now also we can remove these chunks of material over here. Those are called chips or chunks. And if we go in here, it's got one option. It's called remove chunks. So just click on it and it's asking us the stuff you wanted to remove. Click OK and then we remove the chunks. So now we decided that we have some clamps in here. We have a clamp to hold the part down and we have another clamp to hold the part down over here. So now I'm able to machine this side and the back side. Then we're going to take the clamps from here, those two clamps, put them on this side of the part, and then we're going to be able to skim those two sides over there. So let's save this again. Oh, what did I do? I should have clicked on the saved. Let's remove the chunks again. And let's go to save video result. Now we're going to click OK. And as you see, it started on this operation. Now we can click OK. So this operation is very good. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy this operation. And I'm just going to use the same feeds and speeds. And I'm just going to select this bottom edge. So you can do right click, copy. Then do a paste. Double click on the operation. And let's go to the back of the part. Leave all this the same. The only thing we're going to remove is going to be those endpoints and this profile. We're going to leave the top and bottom the same because it's the same part, the same level. So let's do a right click and let's go back to remove all contours. Same thing to the points. We're going to remove this. And now we can go back to this wall and click on this edge. Let's click OK. And for now, we don't need to select this point. You already have everything selected. We just do automatic replay. And as you see, automatically it follows the same information from the previous part, from the previous operation. So let's run a quick video simulation. Beautiful. So now we're gonna do take the clamps from here, from those two side walls, put the clamps over here. We have to specify that in our setup sheet for the guys in the CNC shop. And then we're gonna make another operation to remove this and this. So I'm gonna save this. We're gonna click OK over here. And we can create another manufacturing program. We'll put it under this. So that's going to be like our first part of the program. And the same thing, which is we can paste the same operation. We can copy it again. It's already copied, but I'm just going to do it again to make sure we follow this profile. Go back here. We paste this. Just double click on it again. Remove all contours. Click on it. See, when you remove it, it becomes red. That means there is no geometry selected. Once you pre-select the geometry, it becomes green. I'm gonna replay it, and this is one operation. And I'm gonna paste it again so I can machine the back side of this part. Same thing, remove. Select this edge. Toolpath replay. And there we have it. And for now this operation is done. What happened is because we create another manufacturing program, we're not gonna be able to use this simulation, I guess. Let's give it a try. Let's run a simulation from the previous operation to see if it remembers it. No, it doesn't. So what happened is because we create another manufacturing program, it doesn't see the previous operation on my simulation tool. But what we can do, we can take these two operations and we can paste them over here just for the heck of it, just to see our simulation how it looks. But we can you can move on however you feel comfortable. I'm just showing you the options you can choose so you can run your simulation. I think this is gonna be the easiest way. What I like to do before I start copying things around and move them around, I like to lock all these operations. So in case my geometry gets deleted by any chance, by mistake, I want to make sure that my toolpath it's all intact. So I don't have to redo it. So once I'm done with this, I can do a right click on my manufacturing program and you go to lock children, and it's got the lock on each operation, and the same thing over here. Let's go lock them. Right now we can move this around without destroying our geometry. Now if I delete this, if I delete the cal part just for just for the sample, my geometry is still gonna be intact because we locked them. We still can post it right now. We go outside, we post it, and our geometry is still gonna, our toolpath is gonna be over here. So let's just copy this for now, and let's paste it under our first manufacturing program. Now we can run the simulation. So we go to run video from last video result, and now it remembers our previous operation. So we can do a toolpath replay, and that's our finished part right there. And we can save it again. Okay, and that's one way of machining the profile. But for example, if this part has got some holes in here, we can screw the part down through those holes, and we can walk around the part in one shot. So let me copy this one more time, and I'm gonna paste it under this same manufacturing program. I'm gonna unlock it. So we do a right click on this operation. We'll go down here and go to unlock. So now we're able to edit it. Because if we keep it locked, we cannot edit it. So I'm just gonna lock it just for the heck of it, just to see the difference. So I'm gonna go on this operation because it's already locked. See, all these operations are locked, and we're not able to change anything. So it's got a lock icon over here. So let's go back to this operation. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna remove these contours, and I'm gonna select all this profile all at once. See, sometimes because I'm using a small screen right now, it's just a 17-inch, the tree is on the way. If you click F3, you get more room on the screen. So if you click F3 again, you can bring it back. So let's select our profile. I'm going to click on this edge, Then I'm gonna navigate on the edge to the surface. Navigate and build of the edges. Yeah, I end up doing this manually. So we have all this profile all at once. What happens is if you don't want to do this manually, see right now I have to click on each edge individually. It takes a little longer, right? Let's do okay for now. I'm going to show you a quicker way of doing this. See right now I walk around the part all in one shot. But if you don't want to select the edges like this, one by one, there is another way of doing this a little quicker. Let's go back to our shape design. Let's click F3 so we can get our tree back. This is our part, oh, this is the shape design icon, right? On my mask level, I'm going to make sure this is my default. So everything I'm going to create is going to come onto this level. And I'll go to this icon over here. It's called boundary. If you click on it, it's going to give us a boundary all the way around the part. It's going to click OK. I'm going to go back right now to the toolpath window. Let's go back on the same operation. I'm going to remove this again. And now once I'm going to select this, I'll go back to my part and I'll click on my boundary. And I have to make sure I put my guide on the outside of the part. Double click on the screen, toolpath replay, and as you see we got our boundary all in one shot. The reason we see this over here, the tool goes at the end of the part. There's no problem. This is perfect right here. But you can input limiting. If you don't want the tool to start on the edge of the part, for example, you want to bring this tool on this point, or you want to start over here. What we can do, we can go to this option over here. So we go, we have two entry points. We got the entry and an exit. You see the arrow right here. Now if I go to the exit point, knowing that this is my entry, watch what's going to happen. If I do a right click, I'm going to go add a relimiting a point. And as you see, I move my mouse, I get the red point. If I click over here, that means I'm going to get the toolpath starting on this edge, coming all the way down here. So I'm just going to do that for now, just to show you the difference. So it knows this is my entry point, my entry, and my exit point. This is a limiting for the second exit. But if you want the whole part to walk around, have a nice profile all the way around the part and start over here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove this and I'll go to this other one over here, the entry point, do a right click on it, add the relimiting a point, click over here, and watch the difference. The tool goes all the way around the part and it comes and exits over here. So I thought I'd show you that option because you never know if if you want to use it for the future. And what else we have over here? Let's do replay. Okay, I think I show you guys how to use point by point. You can rewind and you go step by step, or you can go 10 steps at a time. Also, we can put this back to normal, and we can show the tool. So right now we can see all the tools operations, and then we can do a play. So if you have a big part, it's going to take a little longer, but I just thought I'd show you that option. I'm just going to bring it back to normal. F3, that's going to take a window, make the window a little bigger. F3. Click OK over here, and this operation, it's done. Okay, so let's save this again. Let's go File, Save Management. It's automatically knowing the location because we already saved this before. So then if I click Save, it already knows the folder. But if you want to be sure that you have the right folder, you just click instead of Save, Save As to make sure you're in the right folder that you're looking for. So that's the pocket. It's going to ask us to replace this. Click OK, yes to replace. Same to this, Save As. This is the CAD process. CAD part is where we create the geometry, and the CAD process is where we create the toolpath. We replace it, click OK, yes. So now once we save it, we can create the NC code, which in our case is going to be the APT format. So I'm going to go to generate NC code interactively. And it's going to ask us which one you want to post. So if you want to click this, just select this, leave this by program or for machine operation. I already showed you this on the previous operation. If you click by machining operation, it's going to split all these operations and individual programs, or if you leave it by program, it's going to make all this into one big program. Over here, we always have to make sure we get the right information. So in our case, we're going to put it on the same folder where we keep in our informations. So I'm going to call this just test -1. And then once you put the location, you have to make sure you click execute. And you're going to have a little window over here that says everything was successfully. Click OK. And we can open right now just to view our APT file. So let's open the folder. And let's open the APT source that we just created right now. This is the date. And this is the code. Like I already mentioned this before, this code APT, it's made for certain post processors, so this is not going to work on any machine shop. We need a special post processor to convert this APT into an ANC code for each individually CNC machines. But this is the code that we convert this APT into NC. And I thought I'd just show you this again. So this code right here will make our part finish to machine in a machine shop. Our next option is gonna be point to point and curve following toolpath. We have this model over here in front of us, and we want to try a couple options on it. So let's start advanced machining window, and as you see, our default, it's somewhere in the middle of the part. We can move our axis whatever we decide to. So let's make this, organize this a little bit. So let's go back to our CAD part, and as you see over here on the tree, we don't have any axis system. So let's enter an axis on the intersection of this line with this line. So we can go down here on axis system, click on it, and you see automatically defaults on XY0. And this XY0, are those planes right here. See, I just turn them all on. So automatically defaults on the XY0, but if we want to move it over here, we just click on X axis along this line and X along this line. But now it's backwards, so we got Y the way we want it. X and Z is backwards, so we can go back on X and click reverse, and that looks much better right there. So we got our axis, and let's call this first operation. So right click on an axis system, we get the properties, and we can type in here first op. And like I mentioned before, every time I create an axis, the very first thing I create is our clearance plane. Clearance plane, it's when the tool retracts, it's going to go up to this plane, go to the next move, and plunge down, and whatever the tool wants to do. But for now, we have to make sure we create our clearance plane. Okay, I'm going to insert another geometrical set in here, and I'm just gonna leave it the same way it just comes in. I'm not gonna rename it now. You can rename this geometry or whatever it's up to you. I like to be very organized, so I always like to rename any folders I'm creating, so that way every time I go back into my tree, I can know exactly where everything is. So right now, as you see, we have this line underneath. That means everything I'm going to create is going to go straight to this folder. So if I want to go into this line, you say define and work object, and automatically this becomes the main the active folder. So everything I'm going to create, any geometry we're going to build from this moment on, is going to go into this folder. But if I want to put it into this folder, we just put define and work object. I'm going to turn this off, and that plane that we're going to create is going to go automatically into this folder. So just click on the plane right now. As you see, I clicked on X and Y plane. You can see over here X and Y plane, and we're going to offset it somewhere above the part. Okay, so it says from here it's 787, so we can move it up, or we can offset it. So we're going to cancel this right now. I'm just going to put an offset instead of moving. So just click back on it. So instead of moving, you just go to offset, and that way it goes along the line. So the part, it's about 2.5 inches. So if I move this up probably to 3.5 inches, that's plenty. So from here to here, roughly we have about 1 inch clearance above the part. I'm gonna click OK. We don't need this planes over here, so I'm just gonna turn them off pretty quick. And one more thing I want to create. I want to create our stock material, the material we start before we start machining the part. And I already mentioned it before in the previous sessions. I don't see the icon over here, but if you do right click anywhere in here, we get the customized toolbars, and the option we're looking for is called Surface Machining Tools. We click on it, and I'm assuming that it went down here on the bottom, so just gotta pull those out of here. There we go. This is the options I was looking for to create the stock. I have a couple options hidden over here, so I'm gonna move those out, and I'm just gonna move them up here just to keep it more organized. You can customize this whatever is more comfortable for you. If you have a big screen, it's going to be very convenient to have them all on. But if you have a 15-inch screen, it's going to take away from the space of moving the part around. So the screen is going to become smaller. Anyway, so let's create our stock material. The moment I click on creating rough stock, as you see right here, it's got the dimensions and axis. So I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to use this the main reference. So I'm going to click select, and I'm going to click on this axis. And now those are activated. So you can type the dimension in here if you know exactly the stock number, but if you want to make it quicker, just click on the part and automatically it creates it for you. So this is the stock right here. But if the stock is bigger in real life, you can come back in here and change it. See, right now it's 9 inches. For example, if your stock is 10 inches, you just click 10 and see automatically it's increasing your stock. See the difference right here? It's making it bigger, so you can see you have a couple options you can choose from, and also over here. And once you get the desired material, then you can click OK, and you're ready to go. So right now I just click back on part, and automatically this went back to the standard dimensions. So now we click OK. This is our rough stock. We got the axis and we got the plane. So every time, for me, it's very convenient for me that every time I create a toolpath process operation, before I jump there, I always make sure that I have my rough stock, the material created, I have my axis in place, and my clearance plane. And now we're ready to jump to the toolpath. So let's go back to our process operation. And now we can set up our machine. See, our default is over here. So everything we're going to create from this point on, any programs we're going to create, if you don't move this over here, our XY0, it's right into this point right here. So let's go back to our machine operation, our part operation, and let's change the axis. So this is our machine, this is our axis. Let's go first to the machine, set up our machine. We're going to use a 3-axis for now. On the tooling, I was looking for the tools catalog. If you have your own tool, you can create it yourself. Or if not, you can use the standard end mills. So I see I have a test over here. I want to see what that test is. Numerical compensation. This is for the kata compensation. If you're going to use kata comp, this is where the place to come and to activate it. You click on the tip and contact, click OK. And numerical control. And this is totally up to the company, whatever you're working on. If they provide for you a post, you can create an APT app source file, given the app source. But if they don't provide for you an app file, you can choose some of the options that CATIA comes with. So this is where you come and change it. Menu controls and app source file, this is where you change it. Now we got all this set up. I already mentioned in previous sessions, so I like to repeat a couple times to make sure we're on the right page. I'm going to click OK. So we got the machine set up. Now we got to set up our access system. That's why we created this access over here. So click on the red area. Now it's asking over here on the bottom left hand corner. It says select an access system. So I'm just going to click on this axis, and automatically, as you see, the green axis snapped into this point. And we're going to type in here first up. Now we're going to go back to our design part simulation. So now we're going to click on the finish model that we had. Now it's asking us to select our finished part. Our finished part, it's part-1, which is this one right here. So we're just going to click on this and double click twice on the screen so we can get back the table. So as you see over here, we have it selected. Now we can select our stock material, which is stock that we just created earlier, and the clearance plane. If you have some clamps, this is where the place you can click on. So if you have some clamps that's holding the part down and you want to see how it's going to look on your simulation, just click on the clamp and select your model from the tree, and it's going to appear right here when you try to do a simulation. Let's create now, let's select our plane. This is going to be our clearance. So see, it says right here safety plane. And just hit OK. So now we got the machine part operation set up. Let's turn this off a little bit, and we want to try the curve following. This option, it's we don't have that much control with it. As you see, an icon, a surface, and a tool scribing basically the part. So this one is kind of like for scribing. Most of the times I use it. I don't usually do fancy, like for example this pocket in here or this contour over here. I don't use this option. I just go back to the profile contouring. So this is more like a scribing kind of operation, but I'm going to show you how it works. So let's click on this curve following, and it's going to ask us right now where you want to insert it. So over here it says select a reference operation to insert a new one after it. So that's what you're going to insert after this manufacturing program. And as we see right here, we have the guide. So for example, let's have the tool coming on this curve right here. So let's change the direction, and we can put navigate on belt of edges. Automatically just follows it around, and it stops right there. Just click OK, and now over here is your offset, whatever you decided to put. This is our tool, standard tool that we have. This is the feeds and speeds, and this is the approach. So let's do a quick just a quick pass. So I'm gonna delete this, and I'll say build by user. Let's see what we got here. Ramping axial, so horizontal axial, and build by user. Then we can go back in here, add axial motion to a plane, so that way we have this entrance and a plane. This is our clearance plane that we just created earlier, and our retract. Let's do the same thing. Let's go straight to a plane. So just click on the plane, select it, and let's hit the toolpath replay. So this is our tool. See, it goes right in the middle of the curve. So this is not good to use for finishing a contour. See right here, if you look at the tool, the center of the tool goes to the center of that curve. So right now if you put a wireframe in here, see the tool goes right into the center. So it doesn't care there is a wall over here, and it's just gonna go right into the center. Let's put this back. I think I turned up the part by mistake, so let's bring this back. Let's try it again. Okay, we're back in business. So this is how the curve following works, but I don't recommend this to finish any walls or to do any finishing on the part. This is used most likely for scribing. So let's do it again. See the tool plunges from the appearance plane that we just created, and if you click on visualization mode, and let's click on only last tool position, and we'll click play. You just see the tool only. But if we go back and change it to all tools, we can see where the tool has been. We can see every little step. We can increase the step and make it much tighter, and we go back into the operation, double click here, and over here on the tolerance, if we decrease this, let's change it to 1000. Look at the difference. See the tools, we get more tools, so our tolerance is better. So if you want to have a nice finish on the part, that's the place you come and change it. So even show you right here, it's a tolerance. So the smaller you make it, the bigger the program gets, but the finish of the part is going to look so much better. So look at the difference, how many tools we have, all these positions. Okay, let's rewind everything. Let's do a quick play. So this is how it looks like. If you want, we can let's put this back to normal, 4000. If you want to add a couple steps, it's asking us how many levels you want. So if you want to put 5 levels, and each level you want to go to 200,000 on a zigzag, this is how it's going to look like. Okay. Or if you want to make it only one way, just click here, replay, and this is how it's going to look like. 1, 2, 3. But see, when the tool retracts right now, it's going right through the part. This is not good, but it's because we didn't activate our retract. Going over here to the last page, and you see those are not activated. Our clearance, retracts, those are turned off. So to turn it on, you just click on this and click activate. Activate. So you turn them all on. Now they're all on, but we have to add the movement. So just click on the add action motion to a plane. We'll get the plane, and we do the same thing to all of them. Then this way we force the tool to go all the way to this plane, so it doesn't retract to the part, because obviously we're going to scrap the part if we do that. So I'm just going to go through all of those and just add a motion to come to this plane. Okay, I'm going to do quick replay. And as you see right now, the tool goes all the way up to this plane and comes back over. This is much better, but like I said, I wouldn't recommend this operation to finish this wall over here. Let me show you a quick curve following, how I would like to use it. And let's go back to our part. We can double click on the part and automatically we're going to go back into the geometrical building view. See, we're in a generative shape design right now. We can actually start building some geometry over here. So let's turn off the part and let's create a quick surface. So I'm going to click on the Z-X plane. I'm going to build a quick sketch. I'm going to turn the grids off. Oh, the reason I'm not seeing this right now, because this is turned off and everything comes into this level. So if I go on a no-show, this is our spline, because this level is the octave one. So let's go back over here, cancel this. I'm going to cancel this, get out of the sketch, and let's make this define a work object. So everything I'm going to create right now is going to go into this folder. Go back to the sketch and let's click back into our spline. We just created a weird spline over there. Oh, actually, let's create it. Let me go back in here, and I'm gonna create it. I'm gonna create it normal to this view. See, because we have the axis selected. So I'm just gonna take this one and see if we can move it. No, I'm just gonna delete it. Delete this sketch. And we want to create something along this way. See, right now, once we get out, once I extend this over, we can come from the top and machine it. Okay, let's extrude this over. Let's give it a limit. Okay. And let's project a line in here. So let's go back to the top view, which is going to be X and Y plane. So I click on X and Y plane right now, if you see it. And let's open another sketch. And I'm going to create another spline in here. Click escape. Let's get out of here. And I'm going to take this curve and I'm going to project it into the surface. Then we're going to be able to use this curve following option again. So let's click on a projection. It's going to ask us who we want to project. So we say we want to project this curve into the surface. Now if you click preview, we got a preview, but this is not right. See, if we do a top view, let's click over here, let's click top view. You see the projection, it doesn't go along this direction, up and down. So that, in that case, you just click over here on the projection type and click along the direction. Then it's going to ask us what direction you want to use. So we want to say, okay, I want you to go along this direction, up and down. So we're just going to click on this plane, click preview, and watch how this changed. Now if we do a top view again, we got the right shape. See? Click OK. Let's turn this off. And let's give it a try again. We create this way too high from our clearance plane. So in this case, we're just going to take this plane and offset it a little bit higher than the part. Click OK. This is just for a test only. Once you start your part, you set up your clearance higher than the part. That's usually how that works. And let's go back into our process window. Just double click on this and automatically the window changes. So let's click on this option again. Let's go back to our window and click on curve following. It's asking us where we want to put it. We want to put it below this. We click on the curve. We selected it. Click OK. And usually when I scribe the part, I usually use a sharp point. And let's use something with a sharp point, like a center drill or like a scribe tool. Let's use this just for temporary. To scribe it, it doesn't really matter in our case right now because this is not a finished part. So I'm gonna make this a little smaller. And let's click let's go back in here. This is where you put your feeds and speeds. But let's go back in here and change our clearance plane to this guy because we have another plane right now. So we're changing our macros to the higher plane. Okay, we have nothing in here. Oh, we got a couple things in there. Link and retract, build by user. Let's go to a plane. Let's go back to a plane, click on all of them. The reason I'm going through all this right now because I want to do again a couple passes. So we want to make sure that we have a nice retract. I know it takes a little bit, but we have to go to each one individually. Okay, once we selected all the planes, let's click on Toolpath Replay. We missed one. See, it's still using this macro over here from previous. Let's see which one is the one that I'm gonna click on this and deactivate it. Okay, so now it looks much better. So the tool basically it's following the surface. That's how this works. That's following the curve, I meant, not the surface. Because we have another option later on, which it comes in here. If you click in here, it's called multi-axis curve machining. And this option over here will help us to follow the surface without projecting this curve onto the surface. I'm going to show you a quick operation to show you how that works. So now let's change this back to one step. We scribe it and let's turn on all the tools to see where the tool has been. So that's how the scribing it's working. Okay, so this is the curve following. Let's go back to multi-axis curve machining. And before we do that, I'm gonna create I'm gonna take this this sketch that I just created earlier, which is this one over here. I'm gonna take this one and I'm gonna move it up, and I'll show you why in a second. So let's click on this sketch, and it's gonna ask us for the direction. We want to go up and down along this direction, and let's go above the part. And over here, click on the hide initial element. Automatically is going to do it for us. Okay, I'm going to turn this off. So for example, if you don't want to project this sketch into the surface and you just have just a sketch and a surface, this is how it's going to get done. Let's go back into our process operations and let's click into profile contouring, and let's go to this operation where it says multi-axis curve machining, and it's going to ask us where you want to put it. We want to put it below this operations. And now as you see over here, we got a couple options. We got contact, we got between two curves, and between curve and apart. And as you see right here, we have the curve and we have the surface. That's exactly what we have on the geometry. We have over here a curve and a surface. Or we can do between two curves, we can do that too, because we have the curve over here on the bottom. This is the curve that we just translated. And we have this option. This option, we can use this option too, because we just projected. So over here it's so simple, and it's making it so much easier for us, so we don't have to do the extra effort to project it. So in our case, if you have just the sketch and the surface, you click on between curve and apart. So let's click on the curve that we have, click OK, double click twice on the screen. If the tree gets on the way, just hit F3 just to move it out so we can have more space. So you see we got this green. Now we can click on the surface. Let's click on the surface, click OK, and it's selected right now. Let's go back to our tool. Automatically is going to use the standard tool. Over here we got the options, the tolerance, which I just explained what it means, the climb cut, the way you want to machine the part. You got the sequency, how you have approached the part. So these options over here, it's for steps over, for depth of cuts. This is where you come and change it for finish passes. And now it's going to ask us what kind of tool axis you want to use. You're going to use a 3D program. When it says fixed axis, our axis is straight up and down, which is a 3 axis. We're not going to go to the 5 axis now. I'm going to show you how this works later on. But this will have only one option. See, this is where you come and change your tool axis. If you start programming a 5 axis, this is where you change your tool. So right now, let's leave our tool for 3 axis only before we're getting any more advanced. So let's leave it fixed. So right now, our tool axis, it's straight up and down. It's perpendicular to this plane. So we didn't change nothing over there. Compensation. If you want to put compensation, this is where you're going to come and put it. Turn it on. Already selected all this. We got the tool selected, the feeds and speeds, this is where you change it. Approach, let's activate the approach and the retract. Let's click on approach, let's click on the plane. So we're going to click on this plane or approach. Let's turn this on. We want to retract to this plane. And let's click replay. So this is how this works right now. Look at the difference. See the tool right now? It does not gouge into the part because it knows that this is a surface. So what we use this curve and we project it straight into the surface. So if you want to have a nice profile, this is where you're going to come and change it. But also you can change, see how much control we're going to have over this. Right now, if we do a top view, see the tool right now, it's on the outside of the line, but we can change it, we can offset this. So we go back and in here, and it's going to look on the offset contours. So let's say if you want to offset it 200,000, I'm going to click OK, Toolpath replay. See how automatically the tool has been offsetted. Or if you want to come on this side, Same thing, come back in here, and whatever you like to offset it, come and put negative number. Click OK, and the tool jumps on the other side. So we have more control with multi-axis curve machining. So this over here, it's curve following. It's a pretty self-explanatory. It's pretty simple, but we don't have no control. We cannot control the tool as much as we can do the curve with the multi-axis curve machining. So for me, I always like to use multi-axis because I can control the tool however I want, and I know it's not gonna dig into our surface over here. See, if we go back, I'm gonna click OK. If we go back to our part right here, and we do a toolpath replay, look at the tool. It doesn't care that we have a surface over here, so it's gonna dig in right into the surface. And even over here, because the tool is following the center of this curve, the tool actually is it's hitting the part right here. And look at this. This is not good. So the curve machining, look at all these passes in here. The tool went through the part. So if you don't want to gouge the part, use multi-axis curve machining. So the reason it dig the part right here, because this is that little lead in and lead out we just made for this part. I can do the same thing into multi-axis curve machining. I can do lead in and lead out, but it's not gonna gouge my part. If you gouge the part, then most likely you're fired. So let's go back on approach. I'm gonna delete this, and I'm gonna put a circular horizontal motion. Then I'm gonna click back build by user, and I'm gonna put retract to this plane. And on the retract, I'm gonna do the same thing. Circular, I'm gonna click on the circular just to get this. Then I go back, build by user to get this, to get the plane on top of it. Click on the plane. So right now, as you see, we have a lead in, the tool lead in and lead out. Oh, this is not good. Yeah, so the lead in and lead out, it didn't care that I'm using a surface. So yeah, it doesn't work. Let's just turn it off. So let's turn this off because it doesn't like that option. Let's put none. In this case, if you want to create a lead in and lead out, we have to put it onto our sketch. So let's go back to our approach, delete all this, leave it like this, replay. Okay, now we have no more gouges. So if you want to have a lead in and lead out, we're gonna come in here and add it onto our sketch. That's how we do it. So we can go back right now if you want. Double click on this, and let's go back to our main sketch that we just did the first time to begin with. This is the main sketch we just started. So we just double click on this, and we can add a lead in right here. So you want the tool to start from outside. So we added this little bit lead in over here and lead out over here. So now if I exit this, automatically should update this sketch on the top. See it? It's automatically updated. Now if we go back to our toolpath operation, click on the manufacturing program. Let's go back to our part, and if we click, it should on the replay, see if it updated it. No, it didn't. All we have to do, come back in here. See how it got all brown? That means something got changed. So if you do a right click, remove, now it becomes all red, it's ready to be picked. And let's click back on the sketch, toolpath replay, See, now we have the lead in, but the tool doesn't gouge into the part, and we have a lead out. So whatever you created, that's all it's gonna be. Let's try the next option. We try between curve and part. Let me show you how this works. So now it's asking for 2 curves only. So if we have this one, now we need to select the other one, right? Well, we can click on this guy, and we can click on this guy right here. Let's click F3 to get this out of the way. We get more space. So right now the surface is not active anymore, so I can turn this off, and I can turn this off too because we're not using this. So right now we just have only 2 curves only. And if you click a Toolpath Replay, this is how it works. It's gonna knows where the top is and the bottom is, but this is pretty cool when you add when you have axial tune on. So if you have over here, like for example, let's make this 20 steps. It knows where the top of the curve and the bottom is, so automatically it's gonna calculate 20 steps from top to bottom. Okay, let's turn this option on so we can see better. See, right now we have 20 steps, so the tool starts from here. And let me do it let's see what option we have in here. One way, let's do a zigzag. That way the tool is going to stay down the whole time. So this is much better. Let's rewind it and push play. So this is how this works. You probably say, well, we can do this without having the curve top and bottom, but let me show you actually how this really works, and it's very convenient. So let's get rid of this right here, and let's bring back this one that we just added earlier. So I'm gonna turn off this guy right now. So right now we have, if you look from the top, this is how they look, but if you look from the side, this is how it looks, because this is just the projected one. So let's bring back F3, click F3 to bring the tree back. Let's double click on the multi-axis curve machining. Let's go back to the second option, remove this, and let's select our new curve, and watch the difference. We're gonna have 20 steps between those 2 curves, which is that's very controlling. Look how awesome that is. That is the benefit of using the 2 curves. So if you have a curve on the top and a curve on the bottom, this is how you can control it, and this is very convenient, and that's why we're not using this option right now. We could have used the profile contouring, but the profile contouring, you cannot get this kind of control between 2 curves. So it doesn't matter what kind of shape you have in between, this is how the tool is going to look, the toolpath. And we have one more option over here, the contact. This is I don't use this as much, but we gotta bring this back on to show you how this looks. I'm gonna turn this option off. So if we have this surface and the contour, so in our case, let's remove all guides. We have nothing selected, so let's click on the curve. We got this curve, and we got this surface. And let's click Toolpath Replay. This is the option how it works. See, it knows that we have 20 steps, so it's gonna follow the surface with that curve. Okay. So I thought I'd show you this pretty quick, even though I mentioned it that we're gonna show it down the road. But I thought about it, so I said, you know, I might as well, because we use this curve following, might as well go to the curve machining and go through it right now while everything is fresh. So this is how this works. And our next option I want to show you is point to point. This is pretty self-explanatory. If you want to start the machine at one point and you want to end the part and you want the tool to go to this point, you just have to have the points created, and the tool is going to follow it. So let's create some points. Let's go back into our generative shape design. Just double click twice on the part. So we got the window for shape design. So for example, let's create some points, right? 3D points. So we can click on a point and let's click on this plane. I'm going to cancel this. I'm going to click on the point on this plane. So as you see right now, I can create this point without creating a sketch on a 3D mode. So I can put it everywhere I like to. So for example, let's say before this program starts, I want the tool to be in this point over here. So we created a point right here, and let's create some other point just to get an idea how it works. Let's create a point somewhere over here, and let's create another point somewhere over here. But as you see, they're all of them on the same level. So let's say, you know what, I want this one to be shifted up. So it's gonna ask us for the direction. So we can move it up and down. Click OK, hide the initial, we don't need this anymore. And this one too, I'm just gonna move this up a little bit. Just move it up a little bit. Let me turn off this one. Now we have our points created. Let's go back to a manufacturing program, and let me show you how to use this option point to point. So for example, let's say we want to start the machine coming from this point, machine the whole part in here, and when the program is ended, we want the machine to end up on this point. Or we can put it back to this point, it doesn't really matter. So what we can do, if you want to create a point in the beginning of this program, you just click on a manufacturing program and automatically it's going to put it right below this. Or if you click here, it's going to put it right below this. So let's go to point option, click on a manufacturing program, and as you see, automatically it created this point to point option right from the beginning. And over here, as you see, we have the options, whatever we wanted. We'll go to the first tab, and we go back to this down over here to option go to point. You just click on it, and it's going to ask us the point that you want to use. We're going to click OK, and on the tool, let's make sure we use the same tool as the tool number 1, because we don't want to have a tool change. So let's go and choose the same tool as this. See, they're different tools. So let's go over here to click on the tool number 1. That way we have the same tools. And as you see right now, automatically the point to point, it came below this tool change. And if you click Toolpath Replay, see our tool, it's right on this point right here. let's see what option we have in here. So I'm gonna deactivate this, click on here, deactivate, and let's do Toolpath replay. There we go. So as you see right now, our point is gonna bring us the tool right into that point that we created. The reason it's coming down is because we have this plane here activated. Approach, I was trying to go to this thing, but you can put your retracting approach however you decided. So we cannot use this option right now because it's going to ask us to choose a plane, and if you look at the plane, it's way below than this tool, than this point. But if you really want to add some dimension on top of this point, you just click on add actual motion. No, first let's delete everything. And as you see in here, if you create 1 inch, now from this point the tool is going to be above 1 inch. Let's go make sure we activate this because we didn't activate it. There we go. So if you do a rewind, see right now the tool, it starts over here, then it moves down here. So you can choose a couple points. I mean, you can have the tool coming over here, then come over here, then come over here to this point. It's totally up to you. You can choose as many points as you want. So go back to here and then choose on this point option. Then go here. Double click, Toolpath replay. And if you put rewind, let's go step by step. No, sorry, I meant this option over here, step by step. Now if you rewind this and you go one step at a time, see now the tool starts over here, goes to point number 2, point number 3. So it's totally up to you. However you want to control. If you want to control the tool before you start the program, that's how you do it, point to point. So in our case, like we said, let's delete this point. So like we said, we want to start over here, machine the whole part, and we want the tool to come to this point. So we're gonna do Toolpath replay. We're gonna have the tool coming over here. We're gonna click OK. And now I'm gonna copy this option. I'm gonna paste it at the end of the program. Then I'm gonna just double click on the point to point option. And I'm gonna click on my point in here. So the tool, see right now we have a little motion in there because I have, let's go back in here because we have this selected, but you can delete that and deactivate this. So now the tool is right there. Okay. Click OK. So we have starting over here, machine the whole part, and the tool comes over here. So point to point usually works pretty good. For example, if you have some clamps in here, and now we're done with this point to point and curve following and the multi-axis curve machining.